begin with the unfolding bushfire crisis impacting parts of New South Wales and Queensland. Authorities have confirmed up to 30 properties have been damaged or destroyed at the Ratville blaze in northern New South Wales. The other fires of greatest concern are at Drake in the Tenterfield area and Laidley west of Brisbane. The Prime Minister has this morning offered his full support to fire crews in the fire zones. Live now to our reporters in those key locations. First to Danica DiGiorgio, who joins us live now from the Control Centre in Casino. Danica, that's as close as you can get right now to the Ratville Fireground. What's the latest you're hearing from there?
Annalise, in the last couple of hours or so, the bushfires, the winds in particular, have moved to a south-southeasterly direction compared to yesterday's westerly direction. And that's what was really fanning those strong winds, the burning embers and the spot fires yesterday. So it's actually better news for firefighters today. Now, there are currently 2 fires in particular that are burning in Drake as well as Busby's Flat. They were being treated as 2 separate fires, but in the last half an hour or so, firefighters have confirmed that they are now one big fire. They had been within 70 kilometres of each other, so there is still enormous fire activity in that area. I am currently in Casino at a control point. It's around 30 kilometres from Ratville, which is the main cause for concern for firefighters. And still here, the smoke is so thick. There is a very strong smell. Behind me, as you can probably see, there are a number of helicopters. In the last 20 minutes or so, we have seen what's called a fire boss. It's a large aircraft takeoff from the area, and firefighters tell me that that is dropping retardant and water onto the blaze to try and slow the rate of the fire. One of the key issues facing firefighters, though, is that there is not enough water in New South Wales. So that's really what they are up against at the moment. Up to 30 properties have either been destroyed or seriously damaged, and crews have been able to reach Ratville this morning, where they are currently assessing the area.
Danica, this is
the Long Gully fire that jumped out yesterday started spotting ahead of itself a lot. It was an area where we didn't have and couldn't get any firefighters into, and that fire ran unchecked, and overnight it pretty much joined up with that fire that's affected Ratville yesterday. So, yeah, it's a really long fire. I don't know how many kilometres it is long, but it's certainly tens of kilometres long.
Now, the fires at Busby's Flat and Drake have been downgraded overnight to a watch and act alert. Despite these easing conditions, residents are being urged to remain vigilant. There's still some 500 firefighters on the ground battling the blaze.
Some widespread damage across some pretty volatile fire grounds yesterday afternoon, and whilst the conditions have certainly eased today, it's still very difficult and dangerous to get into some of these areas. Widespread damage and destruction to power line infrastructure, power lines down, widespread power outages to people up in parts of northeast New South Wales.
Now, Ratville only has a population of around 250 people, so this has had a massive impact on the community. Some witnesses have reported that they saw the sky turn black around 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon as the smoke filled the skies. A short time ago, the Prime Minister offered his thoughts and prayers to those who have been affected.
Our thoughts are with those who have lost a great deal overnight. Fortunately, there's been no loss of life, which is something always to be thankful for. But there are remaining very serious threats today in those locations I've mentioned too. But for those communities around Casino, it's going to be a very tough day, but know that Australians are with you.
Now, a temporary evacuation centre has been set up in Casino, but as you can imagine, Annalise, it's certainly an anxious wait for residents as they await further news.
Thank you, Danica. And let's go live now to Brendan Smith in southeast Queensland. Brendan, an emergency situation was declared in Laidley yesterday. Where's that situation now?
Well, it's now at an advice level, Annalise, after that emergency level was downgraded overnight after 30 crews managed to contain the blaze just after 10:30 last night. But as you can see behind me, this house has been destroyed. It's nothing but a charred shell. There was also a Land Cruiser ute, a boat and a trailer in the front yard. That's been swallowed up by the blaze as well. And just looking around here at all of the vast amount of burnt bushland, hectares of land was burnt yesterday after the blaze broke through, and it came within metres of other homes here. Majority of the back fences here are burnt as well. And looking at some of the homes that were spared from the blaze, inside they're still blanketed in soot and ash. I spoke to a number of locals earlier this morning. Here's what they had to say.
Honestly, After seeing that go so quick, I was a bit concerned, but I didn't want to stress too much about it. What will be. And I'm surprised we've just lost a fence, and yeah, the inside the house is a bit ordinary, but that's nothing compared to these guys.
And I'm just lucky that I've got good neighbours like Trav that woke me up because I was asleep. But I could smell the smoke, and I thought that seems pretty close by. And then once you got out, there wasn't much time to do anything, about 5 minutes, and that was it, if that.
It is much cooler today. That's good news for locals and firefighters. As I say, there is still an advice level warning from authorities, so locals are being urged to remain vigilant just in case the blazes do flare up again today. And Annalise, there is a cool change on the way for Laidley from tomorrow.